and I'll edit it out. Cool, man. So, yeah, what I want to do with this is I want to just be able to say, like, if other people are in a similar position as you and they're trying to make decisions, these are big life decisions, then we can hopefully, take people, we can take people on a similar journey that we've been on the last hour. So we kind of started with saying, hey, let's get some scholarship applications out. Let's see, like, if you can go to college for free, right?
Yeah.
And then we went to that was a couple of weeks ago. We were talking via text, and then you told me, hey, like, I think I can get mostly free education for this community college through a Pell Grant, which is neat. And then I kind of said, hey, there's this school, this Google school. It's 6 months. I guess it's a few $100, and you can, within 6 months they'll pay you. There's like an 80% placement to get a job around 60 grand, like average. So it could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. But and you were saying, like, oh yeah, like, it's not coding, no, it's UX design. And then you said, yeah, that would be cool. We talked about your dream. We talked about, you know, being able to pretty much the college experience that you're after isn't taking math classes and history classes and English, writing essays about stuff that you might not care about, but it's more of, I want to learn, I want to focus on art. I'm the oldest in my family. I want to make sure I set a good example for my younger siblings. Most people in my family didn't go to college, and nobody, is that right? Nobody.
Right. My father went to college, but otherwise, no.
Nice. Yeah. So, and your main thing is design or graphic design, and then now you're doing this photography, a little bit of 3D, ZBrush kind of stuff is where you're interested in. And then you your dream would be essentially to live, have the college social experience, live in a nice area, but be able to see outer space and be able to not have light pollution.
Yeah.
That would be kind of the dream. So we talked about, okay, so instead of, even if you went to school for 2 years for free, it might be better to get paid and just do design work right off the bat and, like, start your career. Maybe, and then we started talking about fear setting, and you said, if it's a job that's not consistent, or if the salary's, not that good, the fear would be, like, you said, it's not a fear that you dislike it. You don't think you could hate learning something new. So we're kind of left it in the middle of our conversation. How can we learn, like, hey, is this a good path? So what are some of the worst case scenarios not going to college and doing this Google degree? What are some of the worst things you could think of that could happen?
Worst case scenario is just not getting a job. I think probably having to start over. That's probably the worst possible case scenario. Um, um,
Yeah.
can't really think of much worse than that, honestly.
So the worst thing would be you spend 6 months doing this UX thing. You
Mhm.
you spend a few $100, and then you're you're out. Like, you're like, oh, I just lost 6 months, and now I have to go to college, mid semester or whatever. Is that something that would suck?
Yeah, I guess like maybe redoing the whole college application, like just process again, is pretty
Mhm.
intimidating. But I don't think it'd be the end of the world. I can't think of an Armageddon situation really. To be entirely honest.
So you've already applied for college.
Right. I'm already in air quote. Haven't paid for it yet. I haven't enrolled in any classes yet. Um, so yeah.
And what would that be like for the people around you that, want to see you succeed? How will that conversation go if you're like, hey, I want to do this UX Google, I want to go to Google college instead?
I think it actually would be received pretty well. So the original idea was to take a year off of school after high school, and then work full time. Um, then I decided I wanted to speed up the process a little bit. Um, even a conversation I had with my mom at one point she was like, "What if you don't even go to college and you just do this like study online, learn what you need to learn, and just go do it without having to go to college.
Mhm.
And this would be definitely a direct path to go about doing that. So
Okay. So you can't think of any other worst case scenarios if you go down this path. So how can you prevent the worst case scenario? So the worst case scenario you defined was I spend 6 months and I don't get a job or it ends up being a waste of time. How can you prevent that?
um, be the do the best that I can, or like work harder than I need to make sure I am either qualified or overqualified to get a good paying job, I guess.
Yeah. So how many hours would you expect in college to be putting in first semester in college?
Oof, per week,
Yeah,
uh, probably a lot more than 10.
probably. So if you put in a lot more than 10, you might be able to prevent that worst case scenario.
Right, and that wouldn't even be that hard if I'm not, unless like I needed to find a job outside of that. If I wouldn't really, if I get have enough, okay, literally, if I have enough for my car and insurance, and I spend the rest of the time on school or the Google, that would be okay, I guess. If
Okay.
long term, if in the present I don't have enough money to go buy like a VR headset or something, but in 6 months, even just 6 months, I have more than enough to go travel, that would be 100% worth it, I think.
Right. Well, 6 months from now would be essentially the beginning of your job search.
Right.
And so you might not have that money right away,
Right.
but it would start flowing in within 6 months rather than 2 years
Yeah. Or
that to start, an art education.
originally the plan was 6 years, 5, 6. Yeah.
6 years for what?
So the original plan was community college for 2 years and then art college for another 4.
I
Um,
see.
but if that's not necessary to enjoy making art and not have it doesn't have to be for anyone other than my job,
Mhm.
but myself, that would be kind of the best situation.
Okay. So, I mean, you could still go to art school for 2, 3 years. Most art schools are less than 4 years, but you could still do that after
Mhm.
having this industry experience, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, let's see, what's the third step of fear setting? Repair. So let's say the worst case does happen. You don't have a job after these 6 months. You've essentially you know UX design, but you didn't find a job. How could you fix or minimize the worst case scenario if like the impact of it if it does come to pass?
Um, it probably improve quality of life for finding a new job locally. Um, find a new job that needs somebody who has experience in web page design or the design like that. That would definitely be really awesome, pretty really, really good, beneficial.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So even if the worst case you don't get one of these good $60,000 paying
Right.
jobs,
Right.
you can still get a local company to pay you, but then you're still stuck where maybe you don't want to be. Like you want to get out, you want to explore the world, you want to. So that probably, yeah, I mean, that would be a repair situation. So what do you think? How are you feeling? Do you, how do you feel if everything went this way, if we went with this Google option or we found another option that was similar, do you think in 6 months you'd be looking back like, oh yeah, that was the right choice?
Yeah. And if I went to college for 2 years and then 2 more and then couldn't find a job specifically what I was looking for and looked
Hmm.
back like, oh, I didn't take that opportunity, I guess.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. So dive a little deeper. What regrets would you have from not going to community college?
Um, for not going, well, what I was saying was like having regretted not having taken the opportunity to do Google. But if I were to like
Oh, okay.
so it's because then I'm like, oh, I lost out on the opportunity to be, I guess, do something that's unexpected and could be spontaneously productive, I guess.
Cool.
If I didn't go to community college, again, it's really that just that social aspect, because so much of what's there, I think I explained earlier, could be learned through YouTube and say like masterclass history, or like
Yeah.
uh, these other online opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's what I'll do. I'm going to send you a document and it's called an impact filter. And what we'll do is we'll just have you fill it out essentially, and you'll make sure that this is a big decision. This is going to change literally the rest of your life based on what you decide. Um, I mean, everything we decide changes the rest of our life. Uh, but let me I'm going to copy this. I'm going to post it on Zoom, and why don't you grab it? And what you'll do is you'll fill it out. I so click on that link and you should see a website. So if I change something, you should be able to see it in real time.
Copy of impact filter.
Yeah. So if I change this to Google UX design school, you saw that, right?
Let me reload it.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah.
okay. So, and then we'll put in the date, 2021. And then what you'll do is you can actually open up this little yellow bar and you can see why, when, and how to use this. And then you'll essentially just put something down. You'll say, what needs to happen for this to be, a good decision? And you want to sell yourself on this, because if you make a decision and then you regret that decision, like that's not good, right? So you want to be able to sell yourself. At the very bottom of this sheet, you're able to sell yourself, like, what's the best case scenario and what's the worst case scenario. And when you fill this out, that will help kind of cement your thinking. And then you can share this document with your mom, with anybody in your life who questions that decision. Say, well, look, like your teachers, hey, I'm not going to college. I know I've been talking about going to college and it's been my goal to go to college, but this new opportunity to go to school for free and to really like make a difference in the world, or do something that I really enjoy, be making money so that I can focus on my photography, whatever it is that comes into your head, you can put it down on this piece of paper. And anytime someone comes up to you, be like, no, I created this document and this is how I feel. This is what I want with my life. And the other thing that filling this out might do is it might show you that this is not the opportunity for you, that there's something else. Maybe it is community college. Maybe you can go do that. And maybe you're going to enjoy it more. But you make sure, like, if on one of the sections it says what specific results must be true, well, you must have a social experience. Even though you're not going to college for 6 months, you must be socially active. Or I must be in a city that gives me new, fresh experiences, or I must put in double the amount of time that is required for me to get the certificate. I must get a job at 6 months. Like my resume must be dialed in. Like whatever those things are, you will type those in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That'll be really awesome. I'll actually start filling this out really soon, actually.
Yeah, dude. So fill that out. It will really clarify your thinking, and then that way you can make sure that you've made the right choice. And then Coursera looks like it's Google's doing it through Coursera, and then we can make sure that we get somebody looking at your resume, that you're applying to the jobs that you want to be working for. I mean, the UX design stuff is probably going to be remote. That's the future. Most places are going to be hiring remote UX designers, and they're going to want people that are fluent in English in the United States, that are hireable. They don't have to worry about, hiring someone out overseas or anything. I mean, to me,
to like work from home as well, right?
Oh yeah. So you will want, like, one of the success criteria might be, I need a place, it's my room, and like I've got good roommates, or hey, I've got my own place and one room is where I work and one room is where I sleep, whatever it is for you. Or it's like a goal, like within 1 year, instead of living with roommates, I'm going to be living, on my own because I can pay for it, because I can afford it. Okay. Or whatever the sex, or I'm earning this much money so that I can, save up for something. And then I think after 6 months, there's no reason why we can't get you art scholarships to go to art school as well, you know?
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. That makes sense.
So yeah, if you want, I can keep researching other options. This is just something that's been on my radar for about 6 months or so. Uh and yeah, if you know other people that are interested in doing something similar, this might be a good option for them as well.
Okay.
There's new schools that have come out. Instead of paying to go to school, you go for free, and then you pay 10% of your salary for the first 3 years. So
Mm,
their job is to get you a really good paying job because they get paid more
that's
in the
true.
long run. So there's some cool business models out there for schools.
Okay.
School is a business too, so it's just an old business model.
I will be exploring this a lot. Actually, this is something that sounds amazing. And I would be 100% down. I need to sell myself 110%. I think is what I need to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Get sold on it. If you're not sold on it, you know what? You're
Mhm.
fine. We can find a different option for you. We can still look at scholarships. I just wouldn't, if I were in your shoes, I would not pay for going to school. That's it. Like, you can go to school for free, and
Mhm.
you better friggin' love it, because you better do what you love, because life's too short to not do what you love.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Will you see? You'll see the responses on
I
here.
will see the update. I won't see it automatically, but if I
That's fine.
check it, I'll see what you typed in.
That's fine. If you want to check it out anytime. I don't currently have access to edit, but
Oh,
it
really?
might not be signed in.
I can make it editable by anyone, I think. Full access. Oh, oh, that's right. You were on. I can add your email. I already have you here on Notion, right?
I think so. Yeah, we used it before.
That's right. Invite. Yeah, I'm still using Notion, man. Freaking love it. It's amazing. Uh yeah, and just like a fine, I guess we'll wrap up here. Final notes. Based on where you do choose to live, let's say that you no longer have to go to a specific university. If you
Mhm.
pick a city, do a little bit of research on how much it costs to live there, what's your out-of-pocket expense if you
Mhm.
end up doing this school and you want to have the college experience at the same time. Um, like, what's your out-of-pocket, and are you going to have success in your social aspect as well? And just understand that your network, the people that you surround yourself with, is your net worth. So, about
Okay.
yourself, how you feel about yourself, how much money you're going to be making, everything. So if you end up, you want to hit that goal, you want to see the stars, do you
Mhm.
look up universities, look up like college campuses, go try to live as close as you can to a college campus, and go and have that college experience. Be around those kind of people that you want to become like, because you inevitably become like the people that you hang out with. So and they will connect you with their people too. Like, by you being connected to me, if you do really good UX work, I can connect you to places that are looking to hire UX designers. You
Mhm.
know, so
Yeah.
build out your network, and work on those. They don't teach that in college. Most courses don't, but it's something that you could definitely gain a lot from.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot when working with you, and I know the last situation didn't work out so well, but I definitely learned a lot that I was able to take on later on and use. So
Yeah. Well, I know you. I mean, you started up school, and you had a lot going on, so it's fine. I understand it's a busy life, but dude, thank you. Yeah, thanks for even offering it. I think it's been almost a year since we talked.
mhm.
And your teacher introduced us, and uh, yeah, it's we'll share this out for the web. I'm constantly looking for high schoolers who I can kind of take under, and teach some of the things that I wish I knew.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it so much.
Yeah,
So
man.
actually, so yeah,
Awesome. Well, go ahead and fill out the Notion document, and then the template, fill it out, see how it goes. You don't have to do that today, but do it when you can, and then kind of get some clarity on your thinking, and we can move on from there. And I'm happy to help you throughout this whole process of, how do you hack your way through college, essentially.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that. Okay, I
Awesome.
will do that. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
All right, Christian. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. I will
All
talk
right.
to you later.
See ya.